from the NGO perspective, I have certain beautiful description to tell about development. NGOs are working for the people. I always say people-centeredness is the quintessence of NGOs. From that perspective, as we are dealing with the NGO management theory and practice, we need to critically understand what is development from the NGO perspective. Development is not a product. It is a process. It is not a product. It is not a soap or a food packet we can carry and give it to the people. We have to make the people understand, internalize the process of development. It is not gathering people, but organizing the communities. In Indian context, in the political parties, we have seen lot of people are gathered for a political campaign. Even 1 lakh people, 100,000 people, 200,000 people gathered in a meeting for a political campaign. That is not, development is not gathering people. It is organizing the people. What is the difference between gathering and organizing? Gathering means an emotional gathering. Organizing means people get together with a purpose, is nothing but organizing. It is not constructing big buildings. I had been to Bangladesh. While I was going in the van, somebody was telling, sir, you see the big building, that is an NGO building. That's a big NGO. On seeing a multi-storied building, they showed that. It is good to have big buildings for giving training and all the other development. Infrastructure is must. I would say development does not end in big buildings. It is not ending in constructing big buildings, but truly capacity building of the oppressed. We have to build the capacity of the oppressed and the needy. That is the meaning from the NGO perspective. It is not a showpiece work. Somewhere, in some place, in some village, in some slum, in some tribal community, we have done one small piece of development activity. It is not piece of, and this is not a showpiece work. It is a social action. It is not just to show to donors or someone else. You have to demonstrate that people have developed. It must be a social action. It is not a mere benefit distribution, giving something. It is not wrong to give benefits during the time of calamities, charities, benefits you can give. It is not a mere benefit distribution, but people's collective action. People must come together and they must take the role of collective action together, and that is development. It is not just giving, but empowering. What is giving? Giving something, a charity. I don't criticize giving, because giving is a part of development in the initial stage. But the real meaning of empowerment, giving power and authority to the people, that is development. NGOs development intervention may start with giving depending upon the needs and necessities, but it must proceed towards empowering. Development is not a piece rate contract, but it is a strategic endeavor. It is not a one-time activity, but it has been strategically and sustainably done that the people can sustain the fruits of benefit. It cannot be fully achieved with an isolated approach, but through a unified, holistic, and integrated approach. We cannot achieve this development through one single dimension, a monodimension. It is a multi-dimensional action. I would say, for example, World Vision is an NGO. They go to the community addressing the needs of the children, primarily and predominantly. In the course of addressing the children's needs and problems, they understand the problems of women, they support the women of the family. And through the women, the family requirements and needs are addressed. By this way, the neighborhood issues are taken care of that. And the community needs and the social needs. So starting from the children's needs, they are able to go to the family, the neighbors, the local community, and community at large, and the society at large. So it is a unified, holistic, and integrated approach. It is not an NGO-oriented intervention, but people-centered. Always, I would remind that NGOs are people-centered. Because NGO has had certain philosophy, all these things, it is not the NGO-centered, it must be people-centered. We need to re-articulate the NGO's vision and mission based on the growing needs of the people. It is not the NGO's itinerary. Today this will be done, 10 o'clock this program, 11 o'clock this program, tomorrow this program. This is not a mere NGO itinerary. We may have a lot of itinerary, but primarily NGO's itinerary must be based on the people's agenda. The NGOs go to the people and study what are the needs and problems, what is the agenda for the people. Based on that people's agenda, all the development programs are formulated. It does not deal with inanimate things. Development does not deal with the floor, light, chair, TV, PPT, and all these things. It is not dealing with the inanimate things. It is not dealing with a car or bicycle we NGOs do have. But it deals with human beings, more specifically the vulnerable human beings, the helpless human beings, the needy human beings, the deserving human beings. They require not merely a facilitation, a sensible facilitation. What exactly the community needs, what exactly this particular client requires, and accordingly, according to every individual, every group, every family, every community, NGOs need to sensibly facilitate. This is it is not enticing donors. It happens sometimes when the donor comes, but it is not, the development is not enticing donor, though they give money and resources. But the real meaning is conscientizing people. This is the Freire's concept. Making the people aware, critically aware. What is the problem? Why they are in the present state of living condition? How they can be improved? Making a critical awareness, making a sense of a critical awareness among the people. That is conscientizing. It is not a superficial intervention, but a sustainable initiative, sustainable endeavor. It is not going to a village, it is not going to a slum, it is not going to a tribal area and say, how are you? Okay, how are you? What is the problem? Okay, what? It's not coming back. It is not a superficial, it is a deeply committed, it is a deeply systematically, scientifically planned intervention. That's what I would like to mean. Finally, it is not a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. job. It is not a 9 to 5 job like others. It's a long process that requires commitment, conviction, a consistency in their intervention, conviction and sacrifice, even sacrifice. NGO workers, I have seen, they have sacrificed their personal lives, their time, their earning, their comforts, many things they have sacrificed. The sacrifice. It is not a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. job, but it's a long process that requires commitment, conviction, and sacrifice on the part of the NGO workers. So it is a long process. It is not a clock-bound job. 9 o'clock I have come, signed, 5 o'clock I left. This is not. So as per the needs and requirements of the members, NGO workers need to be flexible.